I was in Anderson, Indiana. I was in undergrad. I was working at Domino's Pizza. We had closed for the night, so it was probably midnight or 1, and a truck drops a woman off on the street, which was a strange thing for the town. It wasn't a pedestrian town. It wasn't a place where people would typically just get dropped off at 1 in the morning. She got out with a bag and a pillow, and the truck drove off. I went out there and I spoke a little bit of Spanish. I was minoring in Spanish at the time. I got enough to know that she had just arrived from the border and that's where she was dropped off. Her husband had been in Anderson, Indiana for some time. She didn't know the town, she didn't know where she was hungry. She had been in the back of this flatbed truck from the border as far as I could tell. So I got her some food to eat and started to figure out where she was going, where her husband lived, let her use the phone. She had a phone number. She was just so grateful. Helping this woman find her husband and eat some pizza gave a human face to this group of people, and it was at that point that I realized I want to work with this group of people legally in a more substantial way. As we parted, her husband was coming to get her. She had those two possessions, a bag and a pillow, and she insisted that I take the pillow. Archbishop Naumann was led to begin an office like ours, so through his call to share money. We started in 2010 at the La Luz Center for Immigration Legal Assistance. La Luz in Spanish means the light. The idea being that undocumented immigrants often live in the shadows, or in Spanish, in las sombras. And so we're hoping that through interaction with La Luz, these folks can come into the light. Catholic Charity serves, all races, all religions. Food pantry, doesn't ask about immigration status. Our refugee resettlement department resettles people from all over the world, Buddhists, Muslims. One of the biggest challenges with immigration law right now is COVID-19, like any other aspect of society, really. It's created major backlogs through United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. People waiting to come in who might have had a typical process before this is maybe a 9 to 15 month thing turning into maybe a 26, 30 month thing. In the end, what La Luz is hoping to do is just take an immigrant in whatever status they're in and get them to a more stable status. If that's an undocumented person, try and get them to a work permit. Somebody with a work permit, trying to get them to a green card, and people with green cards trying to get them to citizenship. And people with no options, telling them you have no options and don't pay an attorney who tells you you do, who might just be looking to make money off you. The immigrant population is a susceptible population. They want to hear that they do have a pathway. And it's not a fun thing telling them that they don't, but I think it's a valuable thing, so they know that. La Luz, since 2010, I think we've helped maybe 8,000 to 9,000 folks between consultations and direct representation. We do see ourselves sort of as a safety net to catch those who the immigration law community might not be able to catch, or might not have an interest in catching. I have that pillow to this day. I've held on to it, 20 years as a memento to a moment that showed me a path. It's been sitting in a closet for most of that time until recently. My 4-year-old son uses it, and I kind of figure wherever she is now, she'd probably prefer my son use it as a pillow instead of just being in a closet. It's still the greatest thing when you get an approval in the mail, and you get to tell them their case is approved. There's nothing like that.